Today, it's ChillPoint with Paul and Heather and Paul. Time for ChillPoint.
I'm claiming Graham's outline as mine for this episode.
Seems good. All right, the pH balance. I like that.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the ChillPoint. This is we're no CheckPoint this week because
They are filming the panels. I think everybody actually knows that. I'm pretty sure I told them.
we're not being secret about it. So yeah, filming panelists, which not only, technically it's not in Studio B, but it involves some of the stuff from Studio B, and also it means Graham and Beej and Kathleen are all busy.
Yeah. So, those of us who are not busy get to still read the gaming news.
Yeah.
And have thoughts and opinions.
It's true. We still have thoughts and opinions, even though some people else aren't around. For those of you who haven't seen the ChillPoint before, basically the idea is that for CheckPoint, we come up with a bunch of stories and we write up 4 or 5 stories.
Some snarky opinion things.
And then present them and record it and put it up on YouTube. And then afterwards we talk about, give some little more background info about the stories we didn't talk about or about things that we find funny. And this is that, but without the actual CheckPoint part.
Yeah, if for some reason you have only watched the CheckPoint part that goes up on the main Loading Ready Run YouTube channel and not the CheckPoint Plus stuff, you might don't see Paul too often because he runs the tech. Mm-hmm. And you almost never see me because I just do the edit.
Yeah. But, so... and often, and Heather's why often the episode is actually online before we're finished doing CheckPoint, which is
I really
impressive.
like it when I can do it those days. Sometimes I can't because I'm just like, oh my goodness, there were so many. Where is the reading where this was? Oh no, this.
Yeah, it's true. Sometimes we're just so perfect that Heather just doesn't know what to do. That's what you were trying to say there, right?
I think my fastest time for like an episode you guys have done where you've like done everything in one read has been like 20 minutes up on YouTube.
Nice.
That's very unusual for me to get it that fast, but
let's before we start, we'll see if maybe take breaks and do sub welcomes, because just to not get too mixed up in the middle of stories. But let's just before we get into stories here, let's try to clear these up. Treyon for 38 months. Thank you very much.
Snake12341 for 19 months. Well, we're over 2 sub babies. Let's work on the third. Some amazing people. Oh, I believe in you.
When working on babies, always do it with amazing people. Rustin Skirk for 15 months. It's like a year and a bit.
Kavina for 34 months, desperately needed some chill today in all of its definitions. Well, then you're in luck.
G-Dwarf for 63 months.
The Green Monster 450 for 30 months.
The Pear Bear for 25 months. ChillPoint hype. Chill hype.
Opera Dick Agent. I think. Decal Agent. 6 months.
Your guess is
Opera Decal Agent.
Sure.
If I say it enough times, I'll just really mess myself up.
Lord Crusher for the 51 months.
ChillPoint Sky is a subscriber. Thanks to the Mary Cat. Thank you for that gift, sub Mary Cat.
100 bits from Lord Crusher. Thank you very much.
Unremitting for 43 months.
Emergent OS for 25 months.
And Tabbeard has just subscribed. I almost said described, which is a different thing, but thank you.
They maybe also did that. All right, so yeah, let's talk about news. And this is by no means all the news that happened in terms of video game. Obviously, it's video game specific stuff.
And we did not rate these in a specific order of news that we liked better than other
news.
No,
this is generally in like roughly chronological order. although chronological in like when the news story was written, so that might not mean anything.
Yep.
And these are stories that would have been in contention for CheckPoint.
Yeah.
So they're stories that are mostly centered around. I thought they were funny or interesting.
CheckPoint is essentially a battle royale of news. Paul picks all the contestants, and then some very amazing writers look at them, and they battle for dominance. And the ones that you see on CheckPoint are the winners.
If there were 99, that would be so bad.
99 stories. No. Too many. Too many at that point.
Actually, though, speaking of battle royale, we could actually do this story. The new season of PUBG is about to start.
I didn't even know PUBG had seasons.
Season 4 of PUBG. And what's amazing is that they released a trailer for the new season, and apparently PUBG has lore now. There is actually like an explanation, or they're trying to do some sort of explanation as to why the stuff that's happening in PUBG is happening.
I mean, most of the media that I know that has a battle royale content comes from books and movies, and they have to have reasons for why they're doing their stuff.
But like video game, and so
video game stuff usually.
So at least what's put forward in the video there's the trailer is that there's like this kid who was in this like big huge battle, and like all his like friends and family died, and he was the only one left, and he was like, but that made me strong. Maybe so now I'm like an old guy and I'm rich, I guess, and now I'm gonna make a bunch of other people do the same thing.
Is it like, this happened, what can I do with my life story in order to make a lot of money? Sell it? Write a book? No, make other people compete the way I had to.
I don't think that's the thing, like, I don't think he's making money off of it. And I don't think the people who there isn't an implication that the winner of the like PUBG like gets anything other than, I guess, chicken dinner.
A chicken dinner and not death.
He's like, 100 people shall fight for chicken dinner. And people are like, sir, you can just like go to KFC now. Like, chicken dinners aren't like that big a prize.
You could even go to a place better than KFC.
Yeah, but
maybe it's a really fresh chicken dinner. Like you get a fresh chicken. That's not a very good prize in my opinion. Someone's just like, here's your chicken dinner, and it's a live chicken. Now you figure it out.
Yeah. Ugh. The way I see it is like, you know, those like, it seems to be that he's kind of like, people will do this contest, and you know, they will learn that the winner will be like the best, and it seems to be like, you know, those like Tough Mudder competitions that are like the it's like a obstacle course that like, it's like a team building thing that people do, that they're like, everybody from like an office will like do this, and it's like, you know, you have to like
hell of them.
You have to like climb, you know, you have to like climb ropes and help over stuff. Yeah, it's like a whole thing.
Sure.
I feel like that's what the guy's envisioning, is like, people will do this and like, so the in the guy who's running the PUBG competition, it seems like in his mind, like, the satisfaction of living after having killed 99 other people didn't live is sort of the reward unto itself, which I feel is like not that solid a premise.
I mean, you know, if you do it with like Nerf guns, like when we did that one video ages ago now, you get to gloat over the people who lost. You get that additional prize of
you can't really gloat against dead people.
You can, but that's just weird.
Yeah,
they're not gonna react to it. They're dead.
Yeah, there's the old, and it's the old when we did when my brother and I were doing the Fight the Future, we talked there's a thing I talked about, like called like the Hunger Games principle, where it's like, whenever there's these like crazy post-apocalyptic scenarios, there's often like some sort of great mystery or conspiracy going on behind the scenes about like why the world is the way it is. And Hunger Games, I always thought it was like the bare minimum, right? It's you're doing this to entertain a bunch of rich people in like a game, and because that's the premise of Hunger Games, it means that they can do all sorts, like anything that happens in the game inside Hunger Games works, because like even if it's really stupid, because it's the premise is that they're making a system to be entertaining to people watching, not that's like efficient or good.
Yeah, well, I mean, I thought there was a book or a movie called Battle Royale where the whole point was to basically make this a punishment. It was like we ship kids out.
That's
to an
the original
island,
Battle Royale.
And then and it's meant to convey this idea of if you're not listening to the government, this is where you'll end up.
Right.
And that kind of thing, or something like that. I haven't actually watched it. I just read a bunch of things once.
So, anyway, that that's the like Battle Royale, but like then you have to justify like why they would be like why this would work. Whereas with the Hunger Games thing, it's just like the more ridiculous, crazy stuff that happens makes total sense because it's supposed like the objective of the movie that is being made and the people in the movie is the same. It's to make a big spectacle, so it works. And I feel like that's kind of what they went with this PUBG thing. It's like it doesn't like why are they bringing 100 people out of this place? Why are they dropping guns randomly? And why did like new building? Because they're just updated the map too, or they're going to be updating the map.
They do some map updates.
And why are there now a bunch of buildings where there weren't there before? And the answer is because this weird old guy wanted to do that and built a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it can't be any weirder than the reason anything happens in Fortnite.
I mean, is there a reason behind anything in the actual like? I know like the save the world part of Fortnite is like there's like zombies and stuff. I feel like the Fortnite Battle Royale part there isn't like a.
That would involve me having to read about Fortnite.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody in the chat can tell us later.
Anyway.
Or in the comments of the YouTube video.
I do find the idea of video games, I mean the like Mortal Kombat and various series have done this, have started doing this too. I find the idea of all these video games that were always, that have always been just sort of like, oh, it's a cool thing to do. It's like, it's a game. The idea that you have to kind of have a story for it, have to have a reason for everything happening, I find very silly sometimes. But I enjoy it.
I mean, I like having a story mode in multiplayer games, but usually as like a solo player campaign thing. That's just like, hey, your friends aren't around, or maybe you just don't have any who are interested in that game.
Right.
So, but you can still do that. This doesn't sound like that. It's just we made reasons for our things now, which is still fun.
Pong's lore is
probably
very deep and complex. Exactly.
I don't PUBG.
Anyway, so that's a new thing coming out in PUBG. Should be very silly. I hope that they continue to expand the deep lore of PUBG.
We should continue talking about chicken dinners, because that story is great.
Which?
It's this one.
Oh yeah. Okay. Wow.
The Chinese
excellent
Final
segue,
Fantasy.
except I didn't actually remember what it was. So, Final Fantasy XIV, obviously, a very popular game, and there's a special edition. There's a special exotic mount, the black fat chocobo, which, to be fair, looks awesome.
It's very cute.
Yeah, the
I mean,
fat
chocobos are just
chocobo, in general, I do enjoy that like thing that has, because the black chocobo always, or the fat chocobo always like shows up randomly in Final Fantasy things. So there's a black fat chocobo, which is a special mount that's only in a promotion, only available through a promotion. And in the United States, you have to buy the appropriate items from Amazon. Easy. In China, the only way to get the code to get this Fat Chocobo mount is to order a family-sized meal at KFC.
Yes.
And a family-sized meal. It's not just order anything at KFC. It's a specific meal that you have to order.
Yeah, so the article says it's a double chicken burger, a vegan mushroom burger, a 5-piece order of chicken nuggets, 2 original recipe pieces of chicken, 1 2-piece order of New Orleans chicken wings, 1 old Beijing spicy duck roll, 2 large Pepsis, and 2 peach oolong teas. So it's clearly like a set for 4.
Yeah. And the problem is, you get one
code.
One code.
For that whole thing.
And also, they're very important. They very particularly say that you don't get the code unless you eat all the food. Like, you don't get the code until the end.
That's actually been updated.
Oh, has it?
At the bottom of the article, that is not, you just have to order it. The update says that players do not have to finish the whole meal in order to receive the code. They are still, all the players who are doing this Reddit thing where they're trying to gamify it, though, are still attempting to.
Oh, I see. Okay, well, that's good.
But that is not necessary.
At first, initially the story was that you had to actually eat all the food in order to get the code. But now, you just have to order it. I guess it's like, you don't want to order it and like check all the food.
They're just going to give you the code when you order the food, right?
Okay.
But what's been happening is there's been a Reddit thread where people have been having fun with it, where they're making walkthroughs on how to eat stuff, including like, what order should you eat your stuff in, and
can you solo soloing the raid, which is eating all the food.
You could just go to KFC 4 times with 4 of your friends, or maybe with some friends who don't care about that kind of thing, and each get a code that way. But everyone's like, no, solo. You eat the whole thing. This is how you do it. We're gonna gamify this.
Specific. It's like great. You do it in this specific order.
Yeah, I think it's really great.
Yeah, KFC family meal, any percent speed run. Well, I mean, any percent speed run is not what what you were looking for. Is the like 100% speed run.
Yeah, well, I like some of the topics they show in the thing where it's like a person being like, "Hey, anyone at this location want to team up for a KFC raid? Already found 3." And
waiting for group.
Yeah. And
just like a bunch of people like standing around outside the KFC.
Yeah.
Advertising. So yeah, fun. If you're in China and you want to get that code, that's what you gotta do.
It's about $14 for a family meal.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Which, I mean, it seems like a relatively good deal if you were going to buy a family meal anyway.
Maybe. I don't know what the qualifying items from Amazon were supposed to be, or like if they were useful or like anything like that. So that seems like a. Plus, anything I'd have to order, I'd have to at least hit the free shipping threshold. So that's actually more.
Yeah, it's true. Kids, don't try to no clip any of your food.
Oh no, don't glitch your food.
Always,
it's a bad idea.
Always put the food in the way it's supposed to go.
Glitch your food wrong, and that is a that's a game over.
Yeah. All right, let's. I guess this is sort of a segue, in that.
Everybody's got to poop. I don't know what the story is.
So yeah, this is something that I just saw this morning. This is just one of these silly stories that I particularly like. So somebody has made a computer in city's skyline. Okay. So you know, of the like people have made bit like computers in like Minecraft and stuff using redstone.
Sure.
This person has made a 4-bit adder in city skyline by using various elements. The biggest part of which is in order to like turn various what are effectively and like various like logic gates on and off. Apparently, the easiest way to do that in city skyline is by flooding sewage into various place, like basically opening and closing valves to allow sewage to flow through. So it's basically a sewage power using sewage
it's
to
using
calculate
sewer lines,
out numbers.
which means you're setting up basically toilets.
Yeah, well, so because
that-
actually there's like the whole adder, but then that is actually outside a whole city because it requires the sewage output of a whole city in order to get enough sewage into the system in order to make it work.
Got my gaming set up.
Yeah.
I need an entire city sewage system to make it work.
So before you go out and attempt to build this in real life, it's not terribly effective. Apparently, one 4-bit edition took approximately 15 months of in the game, which is about 20 minutes of real life time.
Oh, okay. That sounds way less.
Yeah, but so 15 months passed in the game
I don't think 15
of
months.
flowing sewage through various pipes and things.
I just don't think 15 months of in-game time will equate to 15 months of real time trying to make this happen IRL. There's permits you gotta get. There's weather that you can't control.
Yeah, frankly,
Construction never happens on time.
yeah,
from what I've
frankly,
seen.
the look of this, like, this here, I can make this switch over to this full screen so you can see. The design of this, in a real city, if you could make this kind of extremely complex, I guess you would. I guess civil works project. In 15 months, that would actually be pretty impressive.
Yeah, that alone would be impressive.
Like building the whole thing in 15 months would be impressive. At the end of it, you'd have a very terrible computer that uses sewage as its method of
Calculator.
as calculating, which is not a great use of taxpayer dollars, I don't think.
I mean, maybe it
But-
depends on how cheap the housing is.
It's one of these like make work projects. Okay.
No, I think it's great that somebody found a way to do a thing that I would never have considered doing. But I'm just like, oh, real life, no.
It's anytime a video game has a situation where you have like a thing you can control to make like something happen or something not happen. It's like that, people will install Linux on anything that has a CPU. It's like people are like, oh man, I could turn this into a computer.
Yeah.
Because
it's true.
theoretically, to
It.
make like a Turing complete computer, that's really all you need is like being able to make a couple of different types of logic gates, and you can make those logic gates with whatever you want. It's just, I've seen there's computers made out of like dominoes and all sorts of different things, but it's just not efficient. But efficiency is boring.
Yeah. So for this story, I think we have to demonstrate what a dab is, because I don't think people know what dabbing is anymore. I mean, clearly not on our channel, where if you see Ben sneeze, he just dabs.
So, yes, the sneeze dab.
I saw him do it the other day, and I was just like, is that just
I don't
what
think.
happens now? He's like, it's just reaction now.
Yeah, like it's
like,
not intentional anymore.
It's not even intentional anymore. It's just what he does.
So this is a story about Fortnite, and as I'm sure is no surprise, there is not only a dab emote in Fortnite, but there are actually multiple dab emotes in
Yes.
Fortnite, including the deep dab,
The deepest of dabs, the one where you lean down.
which is the actual like leaning all the way down when you dab, which is apparently like a pay for. It's like a
Yeah,
it's a
paid,
DLC.
It's a paid emote.
Yeah, emote. And the problem they're running into, they just pushed out an update that nerfed it because when it originally came out, there was actually a glitch with it that made it so it was actually quite effective in combat because you could you could like dab out of the way, and your
You could
character
dodge
became
bullets
smaller.
if you
could basically
manage to do it properly.
and also you could, and what would happen is like here, let me I can show you the picture again, or show you the video here.
Okay, so
it's pretty
I'm gonna show you
impressive,
guys
actually.
How to do the dab exploit?
The
So
dab
all
exploit.
you need to do is just edit a window. You're gonna want to do a right-hand peek, and then you're gonna hit the dab. Find
Boom.
your shot.
So you
You
like
can either
hide
reset
under the
edit,
window
or you
ledge
can
and then
double
come
click
up
it,
and shoot the
but
guy.
that's essentially
Ah.
how you do it.
So
You
you're
don't have to
you're
press
you're
every
you
angle,
it's
that way
it's
you
like
have
a
to test.
strategic
You use
dab
edit
is
your
what
shot,
he's doing.
when you shoot, it will whip your character.
I mean, if you're gonna dab, you might as well dab strategically.
And basically, the problem it ran into is that you could cancel out of the emote by shooting,
Oh, okay.
whereas you're not supposed to be able to do that. So you can see what's happening is he's like invisible as he's coming under the edge.
Right. So he can't be shot, but he's lined up in order to shoot,
Yeah.
and that gives him an advantage, which emotes are typically cosmetic and not supposed to give you gaming advantage.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to have your people doing emotes.
Yeah, so they nerfed it,
But-
meaning you can't dodge things with it anymore, and people are upset.
Of course, now
because
people
they
are
paid for it to do
complaining because they were like, but I bought it so I could do that, and it's like, well, to be fair, that was a stupid thing.
Not you can't weaponize dabbing. We've decided that that's against the Fortnite Constitution.
I mean,
TOS,
to be
I
fair,
don't know. Whatever video games have.
to be fair, if there's any game that would have like combat dabbing, Fortnite would be it.
Yeah, it's true.
Maybe that should be just like a special mode where just like you have like 10 different types of dabs and everyone just like melees each other.
Get you dab on. Pretty sure dab is a type of fish as well, so I don't know.
So San Diego Comic-Con, of course, is going on this whole week, I believe.
Yes.
And so there's been a couple of stories coming out of that. One of which is that at the Sony booth, Sony is selling effectively loot crates at their booth.
Yeah.
As in, they're selling a box that is $60 and
Nobody knows what's in it, because
And-
that's what...
and contains it contains
5 new
Five-
limited edition PlayStation branded items.
yeah. And what makes this more of like obviously people been like, hey, a mystery thing
Yeah.
before. To me, what makes this very sort of loot boxy or like similar to a video game loot box is that there are 25 limited edition items that they've created.
Right, because this is like, there's a new box every day, and there's a limited number of them, and every day there's 5 new items in each box.
Yeah.
So you have to go every day if you want to collect all 25 limited edition items that no one knows what they are.
Right. So, I mean, I'm assuming some people are going back all the time.
I mean, there's probably people trying.
Yeah.
I went to San Diego Comic-Con in 2005, and that was overwhelming and too many people, and I can't imagine that place is anything but a death trap right now.
Yeah, I'm just imagining like the kind of the sort of like swag that is like left over
Yeah.
from other random games and stuff.
Maybe
It's probably like it seems
I'm
like
curious. I'm curious to see the unboxing videos that are gonna inevitably happen, and the posts about them where I don't have to watch the unboxing videos to find out what was in them.
Yeah.
But like it's actually not a new thing. Like every time we've gone to PAX, Loot Crate themselves is usually there with a special edition box that they give away. There's a couple of booths that also have themed boxes that you don't know what's in them, but you have like a vague idea of like, because they're like, plushies
Yeah.
of a thing or specific like Mario thing or whatever.
But yeah, to me, the thing of actually having like a bunch of stuff that you have to sort of specifically get these loot boxes in order to get takes a little bit farther than just like a regular like, oh, there's might be something cool in this.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
I like that we need to send Boxnerd to SDCC. I like the idea that he would get this box and he would just open it and he would toss all the stuff out of it to just examine the box itself.
Yeah. Boxnard is actually probably the only one who would really get like the most value because Boxnard is the one who knows exactly like he's like it's like I don't care what's in the box. I'm paying $60 for the box.
This box.
Yeah.
Look at the design.
Money well
graphic,
spent.
Look at the structure integrity.
Yeah.
Does it fold down? Can you collapse it and put it back?
Really, he's the only one really getting his money's worth.
He's the only one who knows what he's getting.
Oh, something else that's happening sort of as a tie-in with Comic-Con is Hasbro, who, as you know, makes Transformers, has had, which something I didn't know, Hasbro has had this portal crowdfunding-ish portal called HasLab.
Yeah, this is the first I've heard of it too.
Apparently they've had it for a while now. They haven't done a ton of stuff. It's not crowdfunding so much as it sounds like basically like pre-order, but sort of speculative products that people can pre-order, and if enough people pre-order, they'll make it.
Yeah. Okay.
So they've done the first one they did in this with the system was a 4-foot-long reproduction of Jabba the Hutt's sail barge from Return of the Jedi, which is pretty cool. And so they've now announced 2 more things: a Cookie Monster.
I mean, who doesn't want a Cookie Monster?
Which
I didn't even know they had the licensing to this, but yeah.
I feel like a big, fully articulated Cookie Monster. I don't know if that's something that people are really into, but sure, okay. Also, I actually, in looking at this picture, I just realized that of course, because of the way the Cookie Monster puppet is designed, as with a lot of the puppets, he most of the time he actually doesn't have like a lower half of his body, right?
Nope. So they had to
He's
make
always
one up.
behind. So I mean, I guess so. It's like
if they didn't have a drawing already, they had to make one up.
Yeah, this might be the first time we've actually seen Cookie Monster's feet. Maybe
So,
he could have had like chicken feet or something
I
weird.
guess we should tell Adam.
Is he big on Cookie
I
Monster?
don't know. All I know is everyone keeps wanting, like, Beach keeps saying how he has to show Adam his feet or something. And so I assume we have to tell Adam every time feet are discovered.
But more importantly than Cookie Monster, well, I guess it depends on what your priorities are. But more interestingly for me, the other thing that they're crowdfunding is Unicron. Ginormous Unicron, in fact.
No, there's no banana for scale, so how giant is he? Does it say?
27 inches tall. So that's a little over 2 feet.
Okay, that's very large, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
And he turns into the planet, which
Wait,
is
he transforms?
yeah. Well,
I know, but
it's
like
a transformer.
But like, it's easy to say like, oh yes, this is this transformer. It transforms sort of if you're very careful and never move anything ever again. Like,
this is all about the sail barge. Where's
nobody cares about your sail barge. Show me your transforming transformer.
Yeah, we want the thing. Yeah, there he is.
Ah!
Ah! Oh, that is freaky, actually. But yeah,
Oh.
he turns into the planet.
Very cool.
What I love about what's cool about this, or I mean, other than it just being awesome, is that here's the full thing.
There we go.
I remember as a kid, like I was super into Transformers when I was a kid, and I remember I felt like because this is pre sort of internet stuff, and just sort of schoolyard rumor things, right?
Yeah.
Before there was actually like definitive information on stuff. And I remember there was this like idea that there was this Unicron toy that nobody had, but
everybody knew about.
And it was like it could turn like it's the size of a planet. And you in your mind you're like, well, in the movie Unicron, like he's literally the size of a planet, and like your regular Transformers dolls are like this big. And you're like, oh boy, that must be huge. Like I remember in my mind, like thinking about it's like, oh man, that must, thinking about how awesome it would be. I don't know if there was an actual Unicron toy like back in the day. I'm sure it was less impressive than I had like built up in my mind. But it's just, this seems like one of those things where it's like this toy is like kind of what my 8-year-old mind was envisioning back in the day, but it could never have been built back then, probably with the molding processes and stuff. Yeah, my friend's cousin's neighbor had it.
Yeah, the one whose uncle works at Nintendo.
Yeah.
That one.
So anyway, I think that's really neat. Apparently they need 8,000 backers in order to actually make it. It's like almost $600. Which, to be honest, doesn't seem that bad, I guess, if you want that size of a thing. They're doing pretty good so far. It's got a few more days left.
Yeah, and honestly, being like 8,000 people to guarantee to buy this thing, it's not a bad margin to go with.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if they make it, personally, but if the people who want to get it made think good on them.
Yeah. I appreciate that, like, clearly they have made, like, one.
Well, yeah.
They 3D printed it or something.
Probably had to.
But it isn't just, the fact, like, this isn't like a Kickstarter or something where it's like, this is what we're going to do. This is, like, Hasbro is made. Like, they know what to do to make it. This is just, like, pre-ordering and checking the availability and stuff. This isn't like, we're going to try to make a Unicron thing. All right, what else we got going on? So this is an interesting thing with sort of I guess an update to a story that happened
about 5 months ago.
Yeah, happened a few months ago, which you may have heard about. I don't know if we talked about it at all on CheckPoint.
All I know is because it's about Devotion. I remember several times Ben being like, "Yeah, we'll play Devotion soon. Yeah, we'll get to play Devotion soon.
Right,
we'll get to play Devotion."
It was
soon.
a game that So this is so it's about a horror game called Devotion. That was on the docket for Let's Know, and then it got pulled from sale a few months ago. Because apparently it included something disparaging about Xi Jinping, the Chinese president. I forget what they actually had put in, but
it was like
it was the Winnie the Pooh thing or something. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, okay.
There's this idea that they're people have been like, there's this meme that he looks like Winnie the Pooh, and they're very down on the whole.
Last Week Tonight covered it. A while back.
So it's a Taiwanese studio, Red Candle Games, and so they pulled the Devotion, and apparently they've just released an update saying that they are they're very apologetic and apparently, like, not only are they sort of in trouble for it, but like the publisher for it. So, because they're the developer, but like their publisher
Yeah.
has also gotten in trouble, and I believe they just recently got their Indeviant, which is their publisher, had its business license revoked by the Chinese government.
And they specifically say because of this game.
Yeah. Red Candle Games released a thing saying they're very apologetic not only to their fans who are no longer able to buy the game, to their publisher who got in trouble because of a thing that they did, they're playing it fairly close to their chest in terms of.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it sounds like there's a very good chance this game will not get released again.
It will not come back.
It could. Like, they don't specifically say it won't. I think they even say if they can regain the trust of the public or something that they would like to, but it doesn't sound very hopeful.
So they say it is an error in project management. Somehow, I guess that the story they're going with, or the idea they're going with, is that this somehow like slipped in and was supposed to be removed before it was released and didn't, or whatever. But so it's a tricky situation. Obviously, the Chinese government is known for really cracking down on some of this stuff. We did actually a story a little while ago about, because it's like there's the sort of two aspects of it where it's obviously there's a lot of censorship issues, in this particular case with the that it's making fun of the president they didn't like and stuff. But then even on top of that, like apart from all any censorship stuff, the Chinese government is also just down on video games in general because they consider them to be bad for the youth or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And so like they've been for a while. I don't know if they've started to lighten up on it now, but for a while they were just not allowing any games to be published in China.
Yeah.
Like they weren't releasing it. They weren't allowing any licenses to be put out for games at all. They just totally froze it. I think they've let a few in now, but they're very very hesitant. Even regardless of the actual content of the game, they're just really down on the whole like concept of video games because they feel like they're whatever. They're bad for the youth.
Bad for the youth. They're influencing people in a certain way that they don't agree with. Something like that, probably. Yeah, that it's
whatever. People are not getting out and doing
they also
physical activity.
Parts of the internet, so.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm afraid if you were excited to check out Devotion, don't be holding your breath on it. Overwatch is implementing a new system for dealing with cheaters. Obviously, all of these online games, cheating is a real problem. And so, previously, like most online multiplayer games, they were just like they ban people if they get reported as cheating or whatever. The new system apparently will be, or what they're going to try to be doing is, they're confident and the detection of cheating software or cheating things has reached a point where if they can detect somebody cheating during a match, they won't wait till the end of the match. The match will just end.
Yeah.
They'll just kick everybody out of the match. They'll ban the person. They'll also ban the person.
The person who was caught cheating will get banned. The other people will be fine, but they won't be able to finish the match.
Yeah.
That's what I understood for this.
The premise basically being that if you're in a match with somebody who's cheating, the match is like a write-off anyway,
Yeah.
because it's not going to be fun to play against somebody who's cheating, so we might as well just stop the whole match. Obviously, this is one of those things where it's like, it seems like a reasonably good idea if they're if they can actually detect it properly, right? If this becomes like I control my opponents and make like by like pretending to be, or like by cheating, and then everyone gets kicked out of the thing, that could be not so good. Then again, you're getting banned when it if you're deliberate, like if you're cheating, you're gonna get banned regardless.
Yeah, they're still testing this though, right? Like this
Yeah.
isn't widespread, so it could just be like if it works, then it's great. But if it's buggy, because there's like a thing when you have computers doing automations and stuff, is sometimes when like games get updated, it's like, oh, there's a bug that makes this thing think this other thing now, and because of that, it's like, oh, you must be cheating. Bam, right? Like that can happen. So as long as it's like properly tested and it works, then great. I'm still always a little nervous about stuff like that, but at the same time, people won't stop cheating, so you have to try something.
Yeah. I don't know, like they said, like why not, as somebody says in the chat there, why not just kick the cheater and let the other players finish the match?
Wouldn't your teams just be on?
I guess the teams would be uneven and the match is sort of already compromised, I guess, is the idea. And that kicking people back to the lobby, the match, I guess they hope the matchmaking is fast enough that being kicked back to the lobby and starting again isn't that big a deal.
I mean, if it's a choice between I spend a lot of time finishing this match. I don't know how long Overwatch matches are supposed to be, but we spend a lot of time finishing the match, and then I find out it's all null and void because somebody cheated, versus we're cutting the thing and now we have to go do it again. I would much rather the match get cut, so I can spend my time working on a match that I care about.
And I guess the other idea is that, like, if they had continued the match, then, like, if you're whatever halfway through the match and somebody on the other team gets kicked out for cheating, and you ultimately end up losing the match because the other team had a cheater on it, you don't want to be penalized for losing that match.
Yeah.
And the way this works is everybody gets kicked out of the match, but nobody is penalized for like leaving or whatever. So that's good anyway. So it won't affect your rankings.
Yeah.
So it seems like an interesting idea.
We'll find out if it works.
We'll find out if it works. I'm sure people will be
We will, because
vocal
if it doesn't,
about
if they implement it and it doesn't, it will be everywhere.
Yeah, if
the
it
internet
just
will not be quiet about it.
And the idea of like, oh, if I'm losing a match, I can just like cheat, and then the match will end. I mean, that doesn't really work, because if you cheat, like you're gonna get banned. Like if I'm losing the match, I can just cheat. Was already a thing you could do, I guess.
Do people do it that way? Do people start a match and then they're like, "Oh, I'm losing. Time to cheat"? Like, does that happen?
I don't know.
I don't play competitive multiplayer.
Nor
games.
do I.
And even if I did, I don't know if I'd know how to cheat in them.
I think you're probably going into the match already cheating.
Yeah, I don't generally think you're like, "Oh, a minute left on the timer, time to cheat." I don't really know. I don't know.
Hey, speaking of multiplayer stuff, this is actually sort of about cheating, but this is actually kind of the other way around.
Oh, right, yes.
So Call of Duty Black Ops 4, COD Black Ops 4, they're about to do a big tournament. The Call of Duty World League is going to be happening
So
yeah, the CW, the Call of Duty World League Pro League playoffs. Oh, that's a terrible name. Call of Duty World League Pro League playoffs are going to be coming up very, very soon, but it appears that there is a glitch
like tomorrow.
with one of the some of the
It's called Vision Pulse. Yeah, Vision Pulse.
Yeah.
Not Vision Pulse itself. No, wait. It's
So the
There's-
problem is that there's certain cosmetics,
yeah. There's cosmetics.
certain cosmetic outfits that make the Vision Pulse ability not work properly.
Right. Yeah, because Vision Pulse is supposed to be a thing that you use, and then all of your enemies get like outlined in red or turn red or something, so you can see
like,
them.
Yeah, you can like see them
But
through walls or
but
whatever.
some of these cosmetics don't allow it to work, so people stay hidden.
Yeah. And so the problem is that they're going to be releasing a patch for this, obviously, but the problem is that this patch is probably not going to be out and like ready and available before this competition, one of these big competitions. And so what's kind of nice is that apparently all of the teams and the players have gotten sort of coordinated, and there's going to be a gentleman's agreement
Yeah.
to not use these particular cosmetics.
Yeah.
Because it will
It
mess up the
it
thing.
changes the,
I
skill of the game.
guess for whatever reason they can't change. They can't. I guess maybe like the rules committee can't get together in time or whatever. Like they can't actually make it as a rule in the
Well,
game.
It
Or
it
in
might
the-
be
in the
that
tournament?
because a patch is coming, they don't want to make a rule that's like no cosmetics or no whatever. It could just be something like that, or maybe they do have to like put a thing in. There could be arguments that could be made that's just like, well, everybody should just use the cosmetics, and then no one can have Vision Pulse, or maybe they can't enforce it for whatever reason. The fact that they've all agreed we're not going to do that, I think is very cool, actually.
Yeah, it's the sort of, and the gentleman's agreement. And as some people have pointed out, there is a slight irony to the fact that this special DLC cosmetic camouflage apparently is too camouflaging. It's like it's camouflage, but it wasn't supposed to make you, so you couldn't be
Yeah.
seen.
I like stories where the players are nice to each other.
Yeah, that the players actually want to like,
So
and
many
and
that aren't, and it's so nice to see a story where people are just being nice.
yeah, and as somebody in chat says, it is a little bit of like a mutually assured destruction situation. Like if somebody does use it, it's pretty obvious if somebody's using it. So if somebody uses it, then that's going to kind of everyone's going to use it.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a incentive.
What have we?
Oh, I think we missed.
We missed.
Oh yeah, just missed one or two things here.
Yeah, not too many.
We're almost out of time too. Anyway, so.
Yeah, James can wait.
Oh yeah, there's a couple things about Destiny. The two pieces of kind of interesting info about it is that one, as you know, Destiny has had this. I don't know if it's like a problem, but there's a recurring thing in Destiny where there's sort of glitches or areas that become like ridiculously good for farming certain things, to the point where there's like literally like lineups of people like standing outside like a cave or whatever waiting for people to respawn.
Right. Yeah. I've seen those stories.
And
yes.
there's been like a whole bunch of them over the years, and people will like use them for a while, and then Bungie will patch it out, and then they'll find a new one and do it. And apparently, there's a new one. There's a new farming spot in Destiny 2, which which basically the forge activities are there's things that you have to do, but the point being is that there's things you have to do, but if you lose, you get like a little you if you win, you get something really cool, and if you lose, you still get something.
Okay.
You get what's called planetary materials.
Okay, so
I don't really know that much
it's
about
worth
this.
kind of trying to do because even if you're losing, you're gonna get a
Yeah.
thing.
So even if you lose, you get a thing. So people figured out that if you, and it turns out that there's a new quest that's come out that actually happens to need a bunch of the stuff that you get when you lose this quest.
Right, and
So
it
people
doesn't take you
realized
long
that they
to
could
lose,
just
so-
go into the quest and then go AFK and just constantly be losing, but that's okay because they'll get a bunch of stuff.
Right, and you don't get there's no punishment for that.
No. However, again, talking about
I mean,
people
not yet.
online actually, being kind of nice. One of the things apparently that people have been doing is before they go in to do that, they strip off all of their good equipment and all of their what's called their stuff that gives them what are called light levels, which are
Okay. Yeah.
they're like your levels, because when you go into the forge thing, you get it's a matchmate. You get matchmate, and so they're taking off all their good equipment so that they're quite low
They're
level,
really low level.
so that they basically as a courtesy, so that they don't get because you generally get matched up with people who are your equivalent level.
Right. So
And so they're doing that as a courtesy, so people who are actually trying to play the thing for real don't get matched up with somebody who's AFK.
okay, all right. That's okay. I can get behind that. I like the idea that a whole bunch of them are getting matched up together.
Yeah, so you
They're
end up
just
with this
like,
big bunch of people who are all
fail
AFK
squad.
and lose.
fail squad. Fail squad going
Yeah.
in to lose for 60
Woo!
seconds. Yeah. Yeah.
And just
I like
imagine
it.
that, like, it's like a squad of whatever, 6 people, 5 of whom are AFK, and one guy is like, "Come on, team, let's go, guys, hello." Oh,
Did no one tell Todd? No one told Todd.
guys, why aren't you talking anymore?
Neat.
Yeah. The other thing that came out of Destiny is kind of funny. There's a new expansion that is about to come out called Shadowkeep.
Keep your shadows in your cages. What? I
Yeah,
don't
you don't
know.
want your shadows to escape.
They might get.
Well, you gotta. It's the Peter Pan thing. You gotta stitch it
you
on.
gotta. Yeah. Don't use soap. Peter, come on. Don't use soap.
Yeah, the moon is haunted. Moon ghosts. Those are like the second worst type of ghost. So they were talking about part of this is they were talking about is because the moon as a area was in Destiny 1.
Okay. Yeah.
And so now they're bringing it to Destiny 2. And people are like, "Oh, is it going to be like just the same as the one in Destiny 1?" They're like, "Oh no, we're changing it. It's also not going to be like the entirety of what we had in Destiny 1." And then but as part of that, they started talking about like there's a limit. It's like the Forsaken, which was a really big expansion that they had earlier. They're saying that the problem they're starting to run into, like they're saying like Destiny is a really big game, which is true.
Okay.
The
I'll take your
game
word for it.
is very large.
I believe it.
And they're running into this thing where they're like, so we're not going to like keep making expansions for this game forever because people are going to run out of hard drive space.
I mean, I would assume they're just not going to make expansions for that game forever. The end. For whatever reason.
So,
but sure.
like a PlayStation 4, the base model of a PlayStation 4 has a 500 gig hard drive built in,
Yes.
which is not great. With this expansion, you require 168 gigs.
Total? Or just for this expansion?
No, but for all of Destiny. So you
Wow,
previously
that's a lot.
required like 80 gigs. This expansion adds like another big chunk. Now that's partially the download. It gets smaller once it's actually downloaded and installed. But it is very large.
Okay.
And because the Destiny, it's very high resolution textures and fancy and stuff. And so basically they're saying that, like, we're going to run into this problem where people aren't going to have enough space for the game on their hard drives. We're going to, like, wait until, like, the presumably the next generation of console will have more stuff. But they're saying that every expansion for Destiny isn't going to necessarily be, like, ginormous, because that's just not a tenable situation.
Yeah, I mean, I just assumed eventually they would be like, time to go to the next thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what people have been talking about.
That's what companies tend to do. Eventually, they don't.
Is that it'll be like Destiny 3.
Yeah.
And if Destiny 2 is anything to go by, they'll have forgotten everything.
Eventually they'll stop doing numbers and they'll be like, Destiny Ultimate.
Or they'll just call it Destiny again and confuse everybody.
Yeah.
Or they'll call it, like, The Destiny.
Oh. Okay, so we covered the Destiny. We covered that one.
Oh, yeah. So,
GameStop.
GameStop.
Trying to be relevant.
I feel like the term beleaguered could apply to GameStop these days. GameStop / Electronics Boutique if you're here in Canada.
We call it EB Games. We don't call it by its full title. Don't worry about it.
Electronics Boutique was a nice name. Now it's just EB Games. Anyway, it's not doing great. And apparently the part of GameStop that makes the most money these days is that they own ThinkGeek.
Yeah.
Which was a good investment back in the day. I think they made more.
ThinkGeek go away or something as well? Like,
oh, maybe.
I can't remember.
Anyway, so apparently they're going to be doing some renovations to their to their stores to try to. So they haven't said exactly what it's going to be, but they're going to be more streamlined and focused on specific aspects of games culture, like esports tournaments, retro games, stuff. So it sounds like they might have, like, this EV is going to be like an esports EV, or this GameStop.
So what this made me think of was just like, the little video game stores that you'll find around town that are kind of just their own thing. That's like their only store location, and usually they have a high focus on retro games or trying to make competitive arcade games a thing, or basically all the stuff that EB Games or GameStop is just like, what if we did that?
I mean, I guess it's a thing where they just they're maintaining all the inventory and blah blah blah.
Yeah, I mean, and this isn't actually a thing that they'll necessarily be doing. This is something they're going to try in a test market that they have not told anyone about where that is, because that defeats the purpose of a test market. And they're going to see if it works, and if they think it'll work, then that's potentially something that will happen to all the stores. In the meantime, they'll still look like the Funko Pop retailer.
Yeah. I'm hoping for a GameStop that we're going to be like, we're going to be specializing only in pre-orders.
I mean, they kind of...
Yeah, we'll be off soon.
I wondered how long it would take him. 5 minutes after, not bad.
And finally, new Switch news. There's there's the Switch Lite.
Yeah, Switch Lite. There's the Switch that came out at launch. This Switch, this is a revision to the standard Switch, which will probably be replacing the current one that's out there. So it's basically the same.
To the extent
in looks and everything, but it looks like they're changing out they're changing the model number on it, so you should be able to figure it out. It's also on their, like, all of this is on their website under the stuff, starting around mid-August or September if you're in some other areas. And they're basically, from what I can tell, just changing out the chipset to match the light, and this improves the battery life.
Oh, interesting. So they're not actually changing out the battery.
No.
They're changing the chips. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So the reason the Switch Lite still has a less battery life than this new model number is because it's probably a smaller battery
Interesting.
for the fact that it's smaller. But yeah, they're quoting the new battery life as being 4.5 to 9 hours, with Breath of the Wild being 5.5.
Which is up from 2.5 to 6.5. So it's almost twice. It's like a
Yeah.
40% increase or something. Like, it's
So,
pretty good.
It's not new, but it is new.
Yeah.
It's new enough to the point where if you were like, oh man, I was thinking of getting a Switch, and you want the original, then hold off
You literally
and
like
get
one.
that one.
What's great about this is it's not like we're thinking of doing this sometime in like November. It's like
Yeah.
no, it's like next month.
And one of the rumors that was going around when everyone was like, oh, Switch Mini and Switch Pro, was there was one that was like, we'll get a Switch Mini. The Switch Pro won't be a Pro. It'll be a hardware bump of some sort. It'll be a thing, but it won't be an actual Pro different thing. And so it kind of looks like this is what that is.
I mean, and like they talk about, and to be clear, this is like it's going to look so much. It's going to be so much exactly the same as the current Switch Standard Edition.
Yeah.
That you can't tell the difference unless you look at the serial number. Like it's not.
Yeah.
The physically it's exactly the same. It's only
Yeah.
inside, only the internals that are slightly different.
So, yeah,
and
the,
it will be pretty much exactly the same in terms of game playing and stuff. Apparently, the only difference is the battery life.
Yeah, so the thing is, like, if you play your Switch docked all the time, then there's no reason for you to bother. If you were gonna get like a new one soon, for whatever reason, but you wanted the one with the detachable Joy-Cons, maybe wait a little bit. If you're like, oh, I really want the extra battery life and I want that, I would actually recommend checking online to see what serial numbers are a thing, because I believe some of the launch switches are switches people try to track down, because there's a hardware thing where they you can mod them that can't be patched out through software.
Oh, interesting. Whereas they fix that in the later editions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and especially
So
so these are going to be coming out mid-August apparently, or early September in UK. And so obviously in that time there's probably going to be a bit of a transition. So if you want the new one, make sure you're pay attention to what...
I would probably go to a retail store if you were looking for the new one right away, just to make sure you can find it, instead of going to like an online retailer, because unless it's like maybe a small retailer that's specifically going to point it out, I don't expect places like Amazon to. But, yeah,
All right. So yes, that is the various news things that we had. We should get going because it's time for
So should we make
LRMTG time?
James do all these subs, or should we do them?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. We could just make James do them.
Remember, CheckPoint is a battle royale of news. You can decide the winner of the news by either commenting in the Twitch chat right now, or if you are on YouTube with this VOD, I don't know, put it below. I guess that's what people do.
Yeah. Well, chat seems pretty determined on that. So yes. So yeah, we'll briefly go offline, and we'll come back, or at least James will come back with LRR MTG, and he'll read a bunch of
We'll make
subs.
him read these subs.
All right.
You'll make him read these subs.
Thanks everybody for watching, and we, as far as I know, we'll be back to normal CheckPoint next week.
I hope so.
I hope so, but if not, I guess
We
we'll
could be here
do
again.
a different thing. Bye.